From the New York Times,
Oh.
Jenna Ellis, former Trump lawyer, pleads guilty in Georgia election case. Three lawyers indicted with Donald Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election results will now cooperate with prosecutors in the racketeering case. I believe this makes 4 guilty pleas. Mm-hmm. And Sidney Powell got 6 years of probation. And then the other 3 got 5 years. Jenna Ellis got 5 years. I believe she also got 100 hours of community service.
Ooh. And pay a fine.
And pay a fine. We have the video here. I'm going to play it for you.
God.
Let's, we're going to listen to what she had to say.
Here come the tears.
Audio's good?
Yep. Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to address the court.
Oh.
As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously.
Sorry, I can't.
And I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people.
So I hope several other states file criminal charges against her and she goes to prison for a very, very long time. Did you hear what she said? She confessed to trying to overturn an election, a duly elected Joe Biden. She confessed to doing it. No, in all seriousness, I think it's fair to say she's opened the door legally by stating that in Georgia and many other states, she did this thing. And if there are other states in which Democrats have any kind of legal capability, they could charge her as well and then make her go through it all over again. The biggest mistake all of these people are making, in my opinion, is taking the plea deals. I've heard a lot of people say the cases against these individuals in Georgia is so weak that the prosecutors didn't want to go to trial. And I'm like, then you go to trial. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then you say
that's the reason to do that.
Yeah, this shows she was terrified. And so I'll say this, just on the surface. If it is true that she and many others knowingly lied to commit this crime, then I think they're getting off easy. Otherwise, she genuinely believed she was doing her constitutional duty in providing a legal service to an individual who's seeking a redress of grievances. And now she is betraying not just that individual, but this country. So in that case, lock her up. See if I care. She'll get no defense from me. And not to mention, I mean, we'll get into it in a little bit, but like the hundreds of thousands of dollars she raised, a lot of people are really upset about this. You know, what does it mean to give someone's legal defense? She paid her lawyers with the money. Does it mean she's taking it all the way? Some people were saying she should take a plea agreement, but I'm curious what you think, man. I mean, you worked in the administration.
Yeah, look, I was a prosecutor, as a public defender. The interesting thing about this entire case, I mean, put aside the fact that I don't think there's a basis to bring it, but let's put that on pause for a second. And the first 3 guys out of the gate that flipped are lawyers. And what does that mean? What did they actually do? Having been in the Trump administration and around the boss and literally talking to him every week, these guys didn't really do anything. So, okay, what are they going to say? Are they going to break attorney-client privilege, which they don't hold, President Trump holds, and say, and commit a felony and get disbarred and get prosecuted just to say Donald Trump is guilty of X, Y, or Z? And they're not stupid people. I think the reason they pled guilty is they know the crimes are bogus, but they came in there with so many slews of felonies. So it's like, oh, you're looking at 85 years. Mm-hmm. We'll get you on 1. And this jury pool sucks. It's in somewhere in Georgia that is a county that is like 88% pro-Biden. So they're going to get convicted. So they're just trying to stay out of jail, pleading to misdemeanors. But I would really like to, and I also looked at
No, that's a felony. I'm pretty sure Jenna Ellis was a felony.
She pleaded guilty to a felony?
I'm pretty sure it was a felony. And I because I was reading it and I thought it was
Because Sidney Powell was like 6 misdemeanors, and they dropped all her
She's the
felonies.
first one to go, though. I mean, they gave her the best deal.
Yeah. But
I want to check because the story I was reading earlier, I'm pretty sure she
right.
was the one that was a single felony, which was I thought was interesting. Yep. She pleaded guilty to a felony charge.
Wow.
So no more traveling outside the country. Good luck.
It's one count of aiding and abetting false statements and writings for stuff she said to the Georgia Senate.
No, if you commit a felony and it's in the favor of the Democratic Party, like Kevin Kleinsmith, the FBI attorney who lied to the federal court about CIA documents, he got reinstated to the bar last year and has a 7-figure job now.
Well, he's more trustworthy to them
So
now.
this is coming along with her book deal and her tell-all. And I think it's part of the process. It's why you heard from that White House intern who made her lies and launched her bogus book. But this is what they do. The media captures them and says, we're going to launch you to fame.
Part of me says I don't blame any one of these individuals for taking the deal because they all took the deal, right? It is a sign of the weakness of the anti-establishment faction in this country that they don't actually stand up for anything. And then you look at, we talked about this famous makeup artist, whatever her name was,
her line is Huda Beauty. I can't remember her last name.
She posts in favor of Palestine, gets a whole bunch of backlash, and she says, I don't care. Don't buy my products. I stand for what I believe in. And I'm like, man.
Okay.
I mean, these leftists are willing to just sacrifice everything for their business, their company, their money. You've got a whole bunch of reports of people getting fired from their jobs. They don't care. It's always been this way. I mentioned this with BLM. The guy who worked at Taco Bell put on a BLM COVID mask, and they said, you can't wear that. And he goes, I refuse to take it off. And they said, if you don't take it off, you're fired. And he goes, fine. Goes outside, films a video and says, I got fired for Black Lives Matter. And then the company apologized. Oh, we're so sorry. What do people on the right do? They take a plea deal. What did Jenna Ellis do? She was a lawyer who was approached by a client who says, here's my argument. Can you draft this for me? And she goes, oh yeah, we'll go through it and we'll advise you on it. And that was it. She had one count under RICO and one count of, I believe, soliciting a public official or something like that. Two charges is what she was facing. And she took a felony plea deal, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and is crying. What I genuinely believe is that Jenna Ellis legitimately thought she was representing her client in 2020 and is now terrified and would rather sell you out, all of us out in this country so that she can disappear into the sunset.
But this is a part of, this is an established practice. If you're in Trump world and you're in Trump orbit and you get jettisoned for not doing your job properly, not only is it a scarlet letter, it's an act of vengeance. Look at the gal that's on the, not the Today Show, but The View, right? That's one example. The other intern that wrote the White House book. As long as you get jettisoned from Trump world and are willing to play ball, I guarantee you every one of these people has a book deal lined up, has a show lined up, and is now guaranteed not to go to prison. And like you said, they don't have any morals. They don't have any convictions. All they have to do is just say what they want, and they're going to be famous. They're going to go to Hollywood and LA, and people are going to put them on their shows, and they're going to be the greatest saviors of America.
If Sidney Powell, of all people,
Michael Flynn's attorney, I got to remind your audience, Sidney Powell was Michael Flynn's attorney who helped overturn that case.
And if she of all people will flip on Trump, why would anyone hold the line?
Yeah.
They just watched. It's like being on the battlefield and watching George Washington drop his pants and cry and run from the battlefield. I shouldn't compare her to George Washington, but I'm saying like a bunch of regular people are watching Sidney Powell go on TV and scream and bang her fist and say, I will not back down. The viral video of her saying, I will not be intimidated. And then as soon as they're like, we're criminally charging you, starts crying. She's like, please, I'll do anything you say.
This was a woman who was one of the people smiling in her mugshot, right? Yep. She presented this.
Jenna Ellis.
She presented this intensity to an extreme degree. How can we have a country where we're saying, we're anti-establishment, you've got to confront the values here, you have to stick by these things, and then you have these people immediately turn. I mean, obviously it's what the Democrats want, but in some ways, to me, it really foils the motion that Trump filed today in his January 6th case, saying, you should dismiss the case because of First Amendment and double jeopardy. But one of the lines in the case was, under the First Amendment, Trump and his supporters have the right to question and doubt what the government tells them. And so this idea that she knowingly promoted false information, number one, did she know it was wrong? And under the First Amendment, doesn't she have the right to doubt it? I mean, it is sad to see someone who could have argued a really articulate message in court take the plea deal. I understand that there's pressure. On the other hand, if we're a values-based movement, you need people who are willing to defend their values.
The bravado is always so much more so online than it is in the real world. But also, like you said, like for somebody, like you were talking about the makeup, she was a makeup distributor, right? She's signaling to her base who's going to support her anyways. But when somebody who's anti-establishment on the right is pushing back, they feel a lot of the times like they're out on a life raft once they actually put themselves out there like that, because where is there to go if it all falls through and they start coming at you with criminal charges? That you do have to, especially if they have a family, if they have kids and stuff like that, they're thinking about what that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's right, wrong. I'm just saying I understand where the mindset comes from, where at the end of the day, a lot of these people are going to put themselves and their loved ones first over the movement, because that's just hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of them.
I think this is a direct result of the two-tier system of justice that's been built in this country. It's one of my biggest grievances in government gangsters. And it's not just in federal court, it's in state court. And what Tim said was they've flipped. That's the key for me. Okay, what did they flip on? But what they're doing is they're going out to the New York Times and saying, ooh, we got Trump's 3 top lawyers. And as a guy from Trump world, I'm telling you, these people barely did anything for the boss. And he came out and announced that Sidney Powell wasn't even his attorney. Yeah. So what they're doing, though, publicly is they're saying 3 Trump lawyers have now pled guilty to the election fraud scam case run by Donald Trump. They're trying it in the public. They're trying to get more and more dominoes to fall so that when Trump gets to court in Georgia, finally, whenever that is, they're going to say, 14 defendants have pled guilty. You must be guilty by association.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. He must be guilty.
But where's the evidence? Because if they had it, this is the thing about the New York Times and these corrupt prosecutors. If they had a recording, if they had, the I got you moment, the kill shot, it would have leaked.
This is the evidence.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
When they begin filing 14th Amendment challenges to Donald Trump's 2024 candidacy, they're going to say, the court judge will say, what's your evidence? Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell confessed. We have confessions, Your Honor. We have several confessions.
That Colorado case.
I mean, if they hadn't, to your point, if
Not
they
just
had an ace in the hole, they wouldn't offer the plea deals. They would want every single person to go down for as long as possible.
As a prosecutor, I was like, you're not going down for 5 years. You're going away for 40.
But it means that they don't have anything.
Right. Your point.
What was the maximum? Like if she had gone to court and tried her luck, what was the maximum sentence she would have gotten?
I think it's probably 20 years because it's a RICO conspiracy. Okay. So
would all the sentences be concurrent?
No, it's up to the judge.
Yeah,
not at all. Like you could stack them, you can hold.
She had two. She had two charges.
Yeah,
so RICO
you can make them consecutive. So it's a total crapshoot. But that 14th Amendment thing, this is just another like hysterical thing. Has anyone read the first sentence of the 14th Amendment? I know you guys have, but it says these individuals shall not, and it names the vice president, the senators, the members of the House of Representatives, and lower level offices. You know who doesn't name? The presidency. The 14th Amendment, by its first sentence, doesn't apply to the presidency, and we have all these freaking lawsuits around the country trying to disbar, or whatever the word is, get Donald Trump off the ballot, which is hilarious. And this boondoggle in Colorado, I think, just forwarded the case on to say, this issue is ripe for decision-making because people are talking about it publicly.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.